Welcome back to Arizona Reloader. Uh, kind of a weird day today. Been kind of keeping track of the story of a hiker out here in Arizona. So this is going to go into what's called part two of living and surviving in the desert. It's unfortunate that this ended in tragedy, but a lot of things happened that could have been prevented. And this woman or person, this man, they could have been found alive. So let me read you a short clip on the news article, and then we'll talk about it here. Woman dies during hike on Camelback Mountain. Camelback Mountain here in Arizona is a real popular destination for hikers, day hikers. It's got some really nice trails, really nice scenery, flowers, cactus. I mean, it's just a really nice place. Um, she disappeared Friday afternoon, and she was in her 30s. She was hiking with a companion. The guy told authorities that she overheated. Mistake number one. They separated. Mistake number two. Mistake number three is one person of the party continued up the hike while the other person turned around and went back to their vehicle. So let's talk about that for a minute. And this goes on to what I was saying about in my first part of hiking in the desert is water. Very important, life-giving. It's very important. You don't go anywhere in this state without water. So part of the hiking is, rule of thumb is, you only go in your hike, you only start your hike with as much water as you carry. Whether it be a bottle this size, a bottle this size, or a Camelback, one of those hydration systems, or a canteen. Rule of thumb is you only walk in half of whatever amount of water you brought with you. So if you brought this, only half. If you brought this, only half. If you brought a 2-liter Camelback, only half. If you brought a canteen, only half. Why? Because it takes the other half to get out. Could this tragedy been prevented? Yes. It very well could have. Okay. First, they didn't have enough water. I don't know if they had any water with them. Second, they separated. You never, never, never separate from somebody that is their first time hiking in the desert or this mountain or anywhere. It doesn't matter. If this is their first time going with you on a hike or a new camping location or any place that they've never been and not familiar with, you do not separate from them. You keep them within either shouting distance, hearing distance, or your eyesight. Okay? You don't leave them alone. Second mistake was, like I said, they did not plan for this trip. Okay? Third, the, the, the biggest mistake was they separated. I will say that again. They separated. That was their biggest mistake. One party, the person that continued on the hike, should have had enough forethought that this person had never been out here, had never been on this mountain, had never experienced the Arizona temperatures that we get. They should have never continued on alone. They should have kept going. Followed that person, got that person water, got down to safety. They should have stayed with them 100%. That was their fatal mistake, was they separated. So again, key point is water. You only hike in as far as half of the amount of water you have brought with you, because it will take the other half to get out and to get back to safety or back to your vehicle. Once you're to your vehicle, you can get in it and go for water, go for more water. But you don't ever start out with only half and with nothing. And you only go half of the amount you got. Then you turn around and you come back. Okay? There again, now, on that topic, as tragic as it is, okay, this person flew out from a state back east. Like I said, they had never experienced the Arizona heat. They had never experienced the climate, the trails, the hiking, none of it. Um, my condolences to the family that lost a family member. Um, it was very tragic. And, I really, on the behalf of the family, people here in Arizona, we have got to watch out for those that have never been out here. If you have family and friends that come from back east, up north, out west, like states like Oregon, Washington, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Massachusetts, Minneapolis, Minnesota, they have never experienced the type of temperatures we have out here. We have a lot of things called what's called snowbirds. It's retired people, retired couples that live back east that come out here for our winters because they are not as harsh as the winters are, say, in Chicago or Minnesota or Maine or anywhere. I mean, it gets cold, but we don't get 10 feet of snow. So it's a delicate balance living in the desert. I mean, you've got to respect your environment. If you do not respect your environment, it'll kill you in more ways than one, and it'll kill you quick. When we have temperatures, and it was only 104 on Sunday when she disappeared. It was only 104 degrees. It's been as hot as 121 out here in the desert. And when you've got no shade and the sun's beating down on you, it's hotter than that. Your skin dries out. When your skin dries out, you've lost water. You're done. It's already too late. You are already dehydrated. The minute you think I'm overheated, you're already past that point of being dehydrated. Okay? I don't know what type of clothing they were wearing, so I can't comment on that. I hope it was smart. Good, sensible hiking shoes. You know, shade, a hat, something. But there again, it's important to know the environment you're going into. Look at the weather conditions. Look at the Arizona will put out heat alerts. They will put out, like they just, matter of fact, they just closed the hiking trails, not because they were doing the search and rescue, but because it was extreme heat. And, it's like we've had a combination of things happen here within this last month. We've had extreme heat. We've had monsoon storms, which have caused mass floods. We've had wind along with the monsoon storms. We've had rain. And when it rains out here, because it has been so dry, when the roads get wet, all the oils from your car and from the road manufacturing, all that oil will come to the top because oil and water don't mix. It'll sit on the surface. And people that have never drove, and the amount of rain we can get in an hour here is ridiculous. I mean, it'll flood because the ground's so dry, it has nowhere to go. It can't soak it up fast enough. So it sits up on top of the ground or on top of the roads. Hydroplane. People will hydroplane because they do not respect it. Same thing with urban washes or even river washes out here. Some of our washes, our streets will cross a wash. And most of them have bridges, but a lot of them don't. that water, it may not look deep, but it could have washed that road out. It could have created a soft spot underneath the road that the minute your car drives on it, you sink through. They barricade. They will put up barricades on some of the roads that are notorious for flooding. And they have it now. If you go through them barricades, you pay for the rescue. So just don't do it. Just don't go. Flagstaff this year, Flagstaff, Arizona, some of the worst flooding they've seen in a long time. I'm sure you've all seen it on the news or whatever. There's a video of a Prius being swept down the street by the floodwaters. Okay. Uh, I got friends of ours that live up in Carefree, Arizona, Cave Creek area. And that's desert. That's desert. And they've graded and leveled and built up and everything and built their property up out of possible flood zone or whatever. But we got so much water, it still flooded her arena and her hay barn and her horse pens. They were still underwater. So it comes. And when it comes, it comes. I got friends of mine that live up in the White Mountains, Arizona, over towards Bernal and Greer and up in that area. And they said it looked like it was a dam had busted, washing roads out, washing bridges out. One of the worst things from the river bottom for a bridge is debris. When that debris comes down that river wash and it comes to a bridge, it just doesn't go, it stops. It builds a dam. And when it builds a dam, all that water and all that pressure, all it does is going to find the path of least resistance. So what is that? The riverbanks. It's going to start eating away at the riverbanks and go around that bridge. So be mindful of that. If you see water coming down a riverbed or a creek or a river, and it's just about to the top of the bridge, rethink your travel plans, rethink your path, rethink your direction, because you could end up in a very bad situation. Same thing, out on foot, you're hiking, whatever, come across a river, you can walk across it. There's been instances, and I'll tell you a real good story. When I was growing up as a kid, we used to go up to a place called Seven Springs, between Bartlett Lake and Horseshoe Lake. Go up there every year. We used to go religiously. We could walk across it. There was times when it was high enough, but this one particular time we could walk across it, and that's what we did. Me, my two brothers, my mom, and my dad. We walked across it, and we went exploring on the other side. They happened to let water out from Horseshoe Dam, from the lake above us. Next thing you know, we were in a flood situation. We wasn't going to walk across it coming back. We had to swim it, and it was fast enough and deadly enough that to this day, I think the Lord had his hands on my father, because he carried us all. He carried 4 people on his back, kept us cool, and got us to safety. How he did that, and this is the lesson he always told us. If you find yourself in a flood zone, okay, don't swim directly across the bank. Don't swim across the current, because you're never going to make it. All you're going to do is tire yourself out. Okay? Look at the direction you're going. Look at the bank that you need to be on. Look past that, down that bank. Pick a spot out, a tree, a group of boulders, anything, and you make your way, swim with the current in that direction. Okay? Because you're not going to be able to pick out a spot across the bank from you and make it, because it's going to sweep you downstream. Okay? And it's like fish. You can't swim upstream. The water's too powerful. So pick a spot downstream, aim for it, and work your way gradually over to that spot. If you're out in your car and it hits, best thing to do, get out of your car. Sit on top of your car. Do not jump into the water and try to get away. You don't know what's under that water coming down the river. You don't know. There could be a log. There could be a board with nails in it. There could be all kinds of things. Barbed wire. A lot of ranchers out here use barbed wire. Their fences will wash away. And all that will tangle you up and drown you and kill you. So get out of your car. Roll the windows down. Get up on top of your car. Okay? With the windows down, the water can at least go through the car and not create a dam. And then move you and the car downstream. So get up on your car. Help will come. Same thing. If you're in your house and a flood happens, go to high ground. Get up on top of the roof as best you can, as fast as you can. Okay? High ground is your friend during a flood. So again, hiking in the desert. Let's recap. Only go in as far as half of the amount of water you're carrying. So one half. So whether it be this bottle size, you're only going to go in halfway. Because the other half will get you out. Proper clothing. Can't stress that enough. Let somebody know where you're at. Do not separate from the party that you're with. Again, very tragic that this person lost their life. My heart felt out to their family, but I'm hoping there was no foul play involved. But you just don't leave and split the group up. So on that note, I guess that'll be, like I said, if anybody's got any thoughts or suggestions, topics, shoot me a line. Let me know. There's a lot of things we can cover, especially living in the desert. There's a lot of things that we need to, that people need to know. How to be safe out here. Okay. So again, till next week, we will see you from Arizona Reloader. And remember, stay safe. If you're going to go out, let somebody know where you're at. Have a good night, and we'll see y'all next week.